Hello, guys, and welcome back. I've got Scott, so good morning. Hope you are well.
Morning, Dan. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Well, it's match day. We got Fulham away. How are you holding out for today?
Feeling pretty optimistic, really. On the back of last week, I thought it was a really gritty performance. I know it wasn't like brilliant on the ball, but I don't know. It's just kind of one of those strange games. It was quite enjoyable all the same, even though we didn't play that well because they scrapped and they fought for everything, particularly in the second half. And yeah, it was just felt like a really big win. And I suppose at the minute we've got new players that are coming in, and it felt like we were getting settled before Christmas, and now we've got a bit of a situation where we've got a lot of new players trying to integrate into the team. So you're never quite sure how that's going to go, but yeah, it was good last week, and then it's kind of like you got that little bit of excitement back, even though it's massively exciting, but there's some new players as well that you don't know what's going to bring, so it just adds that little bit more of what's going to come today, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the difference I felt we made last week was them half-time subs, bringing Colbert and Ori on. It just sort of like showed it up.
Yeah, and I think I put on one of my tweets, I think experience won the day last week because they've got a lot of young players in that team, and I think Aurier coming on against that left winger, I'm trying to pronounce his name, is it Nonto? I
I
can't.
think so. Yeah.
But he was brilliant. I thought, he looked really good as soon as he signed him, and wasn't a surprise to see him score that goal in the week at Old Trafford. So Aurier kind of nullified him when he came on. He didn't have that joy that he had in the first half, and then Colbert was brilliant. Colbert was my man of the match last week because he really did change the flow of the game just by doing things off the ball and pressing and scrapping, and it was just I thought Jack Colback made a real difference last week, and obviously that complemented what the goalkeeper gave us in the first half with his experience. Made some really good saves, and Bolly was great, as well. So I was really pleased with the way they turned things around. It was good, yeah. It was a really enjoyable result, and any win against Leeds is an enjoyable one anyway. So, um,
Always.
so just really really pleased with them last week.
Definitely. I was saying at half time, so I was saying that with Mr. Yatesy or Shelby in there,
Yeah,
he did what Colback did to her there, and Leeds never had that flow with them that second half when we made that change. And keepers like won the tactical battle there for that second half.
yeah, and I mean they had to change it really because I suppose it was I don't know, it's I suppose a little bit of a bold move to start with Nico at right back anyway, because Aurier had been playing so well. So I don't know whether he'd had a knock, but obviously Nico had, he'd not done too badly at Old Trafford at left back, but that was an initial big call, I suppose, from Cooper to play him there. But I thought Nico did well, out on the left hand side of midfield.
Yeah,
So,
then
he did well, and again, he really contributed to the work rate and the scrappiness, and was a bit unlucky not to get himself a goal from that wonder pass from Morgan Gibbs White to put him through in the second half, and he always had to double take. Like he was running onto that, and he's like, bloody hell, it's Nico on the left hand side of midfield bombing through. And he was a bit unlucky in the end because it looked like he lost the momentum. Then he managed to shift onto his left foot, and he wasn't too far away with a shot. So yeah.
yeah, I thought that, and even putting Nico out in the left wing, I was like, first one I thought, why is Nico playing out there? But then it seemed to work out quite well because Alien not really had any luck that second half getting forward because Nico sort of like nullified him as well.
Yeah, and I think that was when you think about it, that was a big call because it would have been either Lingard or Scarpa who, wouldn't have given us that more of that defensive side of things. And I think with Brennan on the other side, who worked hard, it may have been too much of a luxury to have two kind of similar players on either
Mm,
flank. So I think it was a big call and it worked.
yeah, I mean we got Fulham or Fulham if we want to be harsh. Also we had some really good draw at Fulham last couple of years with results. I mean last season when we played them away it was just unbelievable. I mean they are a different team this season. They're beating us earlier in the season, so I mean it'll be a tough game, especially for Mitchell, but we won at Fulham before.
Yeah, it's I don't know. We don't seem to do too badly at Fulham. I'm just thinking I went to see him under Sabri, and he played really well when Fulham were, were supposed to be winning away with the championship, and obviously got a good result um, last season. So
Mm,
yeah, they gave us a real turning over, didn't they? At the City Ground earlier season when we were still finding our feet, but it's a different Forest team that's going to Craven
mm,
Cottage, today, and I still think we're a bit of an unknown quantity. Before Christmas, it was starting to get a bit settled, but now, they've got Shelby, they've got Scarpa, they've got Danilo, Chris Wood, um, goalkeeper. So, it's there'll be plenty to think about, I think, for Marco Silva, um, about what we're going to play like. Um, but obviously, Morgan Gibbs White and Brennan as well. It's a massive threat
mm.
on the counter.
Yeah, definitely. And we all need a Super Sammy Sewage special today because we nearly had one last week. So, and obviously, him and Woods, I mean, I would do it for Sewage today personally, but if it were an away game, I can see him playing Chris Woods.
Yeah, I suppose with Wood at the minute, he doesn't look match fit, does he? So
Mm,
it's whether they're going to persevere with him just to keep getting minutes under his belt. Um, but I suppose we just haven't seen a great deal at the minute, and it's whether that is too much of a luxury at the moment. Whereas Sam's been playing well, the last few games, I think he's played well. So he's obviously got that understanding with Morgan and Brennan, which I think is really, really positive. Um, but I suppose it's just down to Cooper of whether Wood's getting a bit fitter and he'll start him again and try and get another hour out of him. Um, you know, you, I think in the grand scheme of things, you want Wood to hold the ball up and let others bring others into play. But I think
mm,
he doesn't look fit enough at the minute. He's not really doing a lot. And I suppose it's whether does he make that call to persevere and get him up to fitness, or do we go with somebody that's ready to go in Surridge?
yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting call with that one. I mean, does Colback warrant a start as well team midfield after his performance?
Well, I think it's horses for courses with Jack, and I would think that Shelby may start if he's fit today. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what Shelby can do. Uh,
Mm,
I think that if anything, we sometimes miss that bit of quality passing in the midfield. Really, that if we've got somebody that can switch the play even quicker, with a long pass, then I think that's the bit that I'm looking forward to see from Shelby, because that's perhaps something that none of our midfielders give us. That passing range. So, Danilo last week, I think it was just it was frantic kind of first half, and he's just young and he's getting used to Premier League football. And I think as soon as he had that booking, he's treading that tightrope. As a young lad new to English football, I think it was probably right that he took him
mm,
off. But he's another one that's going to need games, isn't he?
yeah.
No doubt that he's going to be. He's got lots of quality, but it's whether he's going to persevere with so many new faces at once, or is he going to drip feed them in, bit by bit?
Yeah, that is a true point. I mean, that is right, and I don't want to put too much pressure on this. I know I've been saying it. I've been saying it on most of my videos this week, especially with it being Man City at home next week. Do you feel like we need to get the points today just to um,
Um,
keep it going? Or I mean, I know the City ground is another fortress next week, so it will make it a lot more difficult for Man City next week.
I think any point away from home in the Premier League is. I mean, I know it's not as good as a win, but in terms of what we need, it will feel a very, very positive result. It's not as if we're going to come away disappointed with a draw.
Mm.
They'll be delighted if they get a draw. So, um, I suppose the things that have changed a little bit, and that's why last week was such a big result, is that some of the teams around us are making changes, and Everton have just bought in Dyche, and it's not going to surprise if Southampton do the same. Obviously, Leeds have made that change as well. So there's always that bit of the new manager bounce that can bring those immediate points, and then that puts pressure on us if we're dropping points. So um, every game is going to be massive until we know that we're going to be safe. I think that's the bottom line. And when I'm looking at the games coming up, I think Everton is going to be a harder game than Man City at home.
Yeah,
I don't, and that sounds ridiculous, but I just feel that it is. That one's going to be, that one's going to be the toughest out of the two. I hope. Um,
mm.
so yeah, but they're obviously going to be two really difficult games in both senses. One's going to be made of top quality dealing with that, and the other one's going to be absolute scrapping. And Dyche has seen loads of us this season, so he's going to know what we're all about. So that one's going to be difficult. So yeah, so I think getting something out of the game today is will be massively positive.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely will be quality if we get a win.
Quality if we get a result today, we will.
And we got a score prediction.
I'm going to go 2-1 Forest.
I take the 2-1. I think it'd be a 2-1 or 2-0.
I've
Clean
had a bet
sheet.
2-1. The bet went on last night 2-1. So
Oh,
yeah, missed it.
there you go. That you heard it here first, guys. 2-1. They wouldn't say about your socials.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter on Munich and Madrid.
Do get following that, guys. Thank you for coming on as usual, Scott.
No worries, Dan. Always a pleasure.
Alright. So I'd like to say thank you for watching, guys, and up the forest.
You read.